Okay, we're on.
Howard's the man.
How you doing, everybody? This is Jay Nando with Alamo True Metal on a Final Four weekend here in downtown San Antonio for the NCAA basketball tournament. But right now, tonight is an absolute special concert where the Michael Schenker Fest and his Final Four vocalists, including this man right here, are going to be performing tonight at Vibes Event Center. But first order of business is to have some candid conversations with them, and I have one of them here right now. Vocalist Mr. McAuley, how are you, sir?
Yeah, you don't have to call me Mr. Hello, Jay.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for being here. What a great show it's going to be tonight. Just got done talking with another of those vocalists, Graham Bonnet, and Robin stepping up to the plate right now. This, as I asked Graham to start out, this is something very special that a lot of artists, I don't know if it's ever been done before, where an artist revisits his entire career and brings vocalists that he's worked with for the last 3-4 decades.
That's amazing.
And of course you were a big part of that we will get into, but can you tell me, I know you were here in 2012, you and I and Michael sat on camera and we did an interview here 6 years ago.
I was wearing a hat.
Yes, you were. 6 years ago, I'm glad you remember. But this time it's the whole gang, the whole family. How did this come together?
Yeah, I guess 2-ish years ago I got a call from Michael's people. Like, Michael's doing the Sweden Rock Festival and he's got this idea that he would like to bring in Gary and Graham and yourself. Is that something that you'd be interested in? And I went, dude, yes. I didn't think twice about it, because all of my years with Michael and with McAuley, Schenker and stuff we would do outside of it, I'd be singing Gary songs mostly, and I went, my God, we get a chance now, all three of us, to get up there together. It was the best decision ever. So we did Sweden, and it just had a domino effect. We went into Japan, we did the live in Tokyo, and here we are. It's a snowball, and a record in between.
Yeah. Well, like I said on Graham's interview, the Michael Schenker Fest released a new album, the first one with everybody together, on March 2nd, about 4 weeks ago, called Resurrection. And you have the first single and the opening hard-hitting track, Heart and Soul, all to yourself, vocally, and a couple of other ones as well.
Kirk Hammett's on there too.
Yes, and I was going to ask about that. So how did the recording process go for you with these new songs?
It was a little unconventional. Insofar as that Gary lives in Bangkok, Graham and I live in LA. Doogie, of course, is in Scotland, as is Ted and Chris. Steve lives in Germany, Michael lives in England. So, and the producer is in Germany, so, it was an international flavor.
Right.
But with today's technology, it's not hey, send your track. It's that easy. It's really easy. And there was a bunch of studio time allocated where we knuckled down and get the final touches done. When we did the Warrior video, we were all in Germany for the Bang Your Head Festival.
Yeah.
So it was easy to have everybody together and shoot that sort of off the wall video, which was a blast. We did the photo shoot there for the front of the cover, and Michael Voss, who produced, sent me the tracks, and I'd start working on it, and the same as what everybody else. There was a whole collection of tracks sent to everybody. Pick this, pick this, pick this.
Yeah.
And so we did what we do, and Michael got to hear what we did, and he goes, love this, change this, blah blah, just like you would a normal production. And here we are, and I didn't expect to get the lead off track. It's fast.
Yeah.
But fast with a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that translate into the live show tonight? Do you each get your own little solo
we have
songs
our own
on
little spots.
and then of course when you're all together.
And it's chronological.
Okay.
Gary, Graham, myself, Doogie, because Doogie was in the Tempo Rock, which was the last episode.
Yeah. So
but there'll be more. There'll be another season.
Yes. And when we saw you about 4 or 5 years, 2012, like I said, here in San Antonio, that was like your, it's hard to believe it's been 6 years, but that was like your turn of revisiting the Michael career.
Right.
So were there even any discussions back then between Michael, like, hey, I'm thinking of bringing
No, this is completely new. This just happened. This just happened, and I think we have a pretty busy year ahead of us. The album's still very fresh, March 2nd.
Yeah.
Very, very fresh. People are just loving it because we all do a track from from the record, and then we all come out together on Warrior, not to give too much away and all that. But it just works. People have come to me and said, "My God, how do you put a show like this together?" But it's just one big show.
Right.
You know, it just rolls from one singer through to the next, and you go from A to B. There's like 30 songs in the show. It's a 2.5-hour show.
Wow.
And I think the comment that comes from people, not the length of the show, but the very fact of the matter that first snare drum hits, it is like
It's on.
pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really getting people. They're going, "Dude, I'm exhausted." Yeah, but we're loving it.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm having a blast.
Well, I got to tell you, when McAuley Schenker Group came out with your 3 albums, Perfect Timing in '87, Save Yourself in '89, and the very underrated, in my opinion, self-titled one in '91.
Right.
That was like my high school, college years.
Oh,
when I was
dude.
when I was into metal, and of course when MTV was really hidden. So you guys were just, that was one of my favorite eras of Michael, if not my
Well,
favorite.
you know, a
era.
little trivia. I was talking to somebody today, and they were going, "Oh, you guys put Anytime in the set," and we put it's in the U.S. set. And my wife last Sunday in Anaheim, in California, just on her iPhone, just videoed it, right? And she just stuck it up on my official page. We're almost 20,000 views
Wow.
on a song that hasn't been sang in like 30 years.
Wow.
So it's kind of weird. Isn't
Yeah.
it? It's kind of like,
Yeah.
really, dude? It's kind of weird. Yeah, not to promote my own song, but
No, that's okay.
but it's just, you know, it's true. What
Yeah.
comes around goes around, and it's just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
We're just happy to be in your country.
Yeah, so I'm going to break out a little blast from the past.
Oh,
Speaking
dear.
of this,
Oh my God,
the
dude, are
old
you kidding?
cassettes of
Look
the
at that.
McAuley Schenker
Good
Group.
hair day.
1987, Perfect Timing.
Wow.
And yes, fantastic cassette. And I want to ask you a question about something you have on your website.
Please.
That apparently when Michael originally, and by the way, when was the last time you saw this picture?
Look at those hairs, dude. What the hell?
You have on your website that when Michael originally asked you to join, you declined. And then some time went by, and I believe the story was that he asked you to have a song ready when you'd been recording all day, like till 3 in the morning.
Right.
And he said, "Hey, here's a song idea.
On a cassette, by the way.
Yeah, get it ready for me by noon today." And it turned
Yes.
out to be the
No
fourth
Time
song
for
on this one, "No Time for Losers."
Yes.
Okay, what do you recall about that whole process and just how that's basically how MSG was born,
a
right?
very vivid recollection. You know, I was in Rudolph. We were in Rudolph's studio. I had just cut a remake of "Stairway to Heaven" with Far Corporation,
Uh-huh.
together with Bobby Kimball.
Yeah.
And so we were promoting it. It was sold about 2 million singles in Great Britain. We thought, if anywhere it's going to die here. Sacrilege, you know, Zeppelin, right? So I was in England doing some promo, and I had a call from management, and "Hey, Michael's looking for you." Michael had approached me in London when I was singing with my old band, Grand Prix, 4 years prior to that. And we were scheduled to go out with Sammy Hagar on the Stanley Hampton tour. Almost the very next day we were doing a warm-up, and I had a call from Cozy's people, and they were at the gig. There was Cozy, there was Michael, there was Chris Land, there was Andy Nye, who played keyboards at the time, and they were standing there, you know, watching the band, and it's like, you know, no pressure, dude. And the next day I get a call, and I went, I can't. They wanted me to come down to the studio. Gary wasn't there anymore, and I went, I'm leaving tomorrow for a tour. And then I got all this bad press, who's this Irish upstart singer, think he is refusing to join Michael Schenker, and I'm like, you know. And ironically, 4 years later, now Stairway to Heaven is out with Far Corporation, Rudolph heard it and said apparently to Michael, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And Michael said, oh my God, that's Robin that we tried to get in 4 years ago. So they tracked me down, and I kind of procrastinated again, and I'm going, oh dude, you know, 4 years ago. And for no other reason than I was really busy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had to be committed to what I was doing, and they had a ton of work for me and all of that sort of stuff. Anyway, I went into Hanover in Germany to Rudolph's studio. Rudolph picked me up, Michael. We sat working through songs till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going, you know, I want to get some sleep in here somewhere. And Michael goes, before you go, maybe you can listen to this. And I'm going, dude, I've been here since, like, you know, the crack is stupid, right?
Right.
And being Irish and stupid and like stubborn, and I went back to my hotel, got up for breakfast, and I kept looking at this cassette, and I'm going, I'll show him. and I had nothing. I stuck my cans on, I listened to this thing and I go, I want to do with this. And I just started putting down a melody and some lyrics in a rough format. Got back in, we went through the rest of some of the MSG catalog, you know, for the purpose of auditioning.
Yeah.
I was the last of 17 singers.
Wow.
Didn't know that at the time.
Wow.
You know, I thought I was the only one.
17 singers. Wow.
17, right?
Yeah.
And then he said, did you get a chance to listen to that? And I went, oh yeah. And he goes, you know, so he sits down with his guitar, he goes, you want to play to me? And I said to Rudolph, I says, just run the reel. I said, we're going reel to reel at the time. And I said, just run it, let's see what we got. And he goes, you don't want to run through it? And I went, no. Well, it's still fresh.
Right.
So I ran it, and No Time for Losers came out, and they went, really, you did that just this morning? I went, I know you hate it, but there you have it. And it made it to perfect timing, and it surprised me. You know, and we actually had it in the European set. We played in Japan, we did all of that sort of, so it's already seen the light of day.
Nice.
Back already.
Wow.
And it's a little heavier now.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say it. I don't know, I was screaming like a girl out there, I have no idea. I would never sing it like that now, you know.
Yeah.
And part of that was in the producer, he's going, do all this stuff, and I was like, oh, that's not what I do, I don't do that stuff. Even Steve said to me, he goes, why did you do all that? I said, don't blame me. I said, I would never do that, and I don't do it.
And that's basically how McAuley Schenker Group was born, I guess.
Yes.
And some great songs, of course. Who could forget "Give Me Your Love" and "Love Is Not a Game"? But
Right.
like you said, "No Time for Losers." The third album, I just love them all. Eve, Paradise, Crazy,
Right, that was Jeff
Invincible,
Pilson and
Jeff
James,
Pilson on
and
bass.
James Kotak.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And did I read on your site that Jeff Pilson was your best man?
Yes, he was.
Wow.
He was actually my chief witness when we had our, you know, you have to get married with the state, dude. So, not in the church wedding, which we actually married in church a year later on the same day. But yes, he was.
Nice.
Yes, he's the guy on the register.
All right. So speaking of church, you mentioned this on your site as well, but didn't really elaborate. How in the heck did you record a song that was commissioned by His Holiness himself,
Pope John Paul II.
Pope John Paul II? You have connections with him? Please explain.
I didn't actually. I would like to tell you I have connections to a higher power, but it came to me through an Italian producer, and the story was that they wanted to. The late John Paul had written, as a young novice priest back in Poland, he had written a prayer for peace, and it was put to various formats. Speaking of any time. And the Vatican decided that they wanted to put it to music, but something more modern. And it had been recorded before, so they brought in Gino Vanelli, and they were looking for Dolores from the Cranberries, God rest her soul. And she wasn't available, and they asked me if I would do it. And what was really weird, if you will, about that was, you know, you'd be standing singing your lines, and you'd just mess up. Right, and you go, shit, you know, and then you go, right? So I'd be in the studio, and I used to see these faxes coming in from the Vatican with the seal of the cardinals that were taking in charge of this stuff, and it gave me goosebumps, you know. He was a very, very holy man, and I think very influential on everybody, because he was just that. And so that's how that happened, and it was the first time, and is the only time, that a Pope's likeness, image, photo was ever on the front of a recorded CD. And all proceeds of that went to the Red Cross. And my sisters, I have 5 sisters, and they would text me and going, well, really, where do you go from here?
How do you top that? Yeah.
How do you top that, right? And that was a huge honor,
right.
you know. And that's really, it's a very short story, long, but that's really how it happened.
Very nice.
I went in, sang it, and
well, right on cue, you probably heard in the background.
Yes.
Anytime the Michaels, Robin and Michael's big, one of their great hits from 1989.
Yes.
That's getting ready for tonight's show.
yes, and that's the live version too.
Yeah. I always wondered back when I was in college and the third album was over with McAuley Schenker Group. I always wondered all those years what happened to Robin. I haven't heard much from him lately. And part of that time you spent in Survivor.
Yes, I did.
Yes, the Eye of the Tiger Survivor.
Right.
How would you characterize or describe your time in that band?
I had a great time in that band. A wonderful, great catalog of songs. You know, that could have happened as far back as '94, because it is a solo record that I wrote with Frankie Sullivan. and that sort of that joining of those two forces was actually orchestrated in the background by John Colodner from Geffen Records. And I got together with Frankie, we wrote that, and way back then he would say, hey look, I'd like you to join Survivor. And I went, dude, Survivor's a pop band. I want to be in a pop band. And he would laugh. He'd go, come on, Irish, do it, you know. So I always told him then that his best bet was to, you know, they don't need to hear me sing Search Is Over, they need to hear Jimmy Jamison sing Search Is Over. Yeah. And what a voice, the golden voice, you know. And 4 years later, and I get all of these emails, and my wife would say, hey, do you ever answer Frankie's email? And I went, nope, I know what he wants, so I'm not going to do it. And she goes, well, you know, out of courtesy, maybe. So I did, and I ended up in Chicago. I went through a whole ton of songs 4 days later or something. I'm out in front of 16,000 people at a festival, singing songs I didn't know. And I think, 5 years, maybe, the background's maybe 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I stayed in Survivor, and a great honor to sing such wonderful, wonderful songs, you know. And so for the last 5 years, I've been doing the Vegas show, Raiding the Rock Vault. We're over 1,200 and something shows to date. And that's a bunch of great dudes, from Doug Aldridge to Tracy Guns to Howard Leese to Jay Shellen, who's now up with Yes on drums, Paul Shortino, Mark Bowles, Andrew Freeman, Michael T. Ross, Meatloaf singer Sean Coey. It's a classic rock show, 60s through the 80s, Raiding the Rock Vault to the Hard Rock in Vegas. And that's been a blast. 5 nights a week, every week.
Very nice.
Yeah, terrific. Really good stuff.
Well, I pulled this out when I talked to Graham moments ago, and of course you're on this as well, the Michael Schenker Fest Tokyo International DVD. Gonna pull this out for to show Robin, of course. This just came out about, what, a year or two ago?
That came out, and what's important is that since that release, and with, of course, the, you know, to bring it up again, since March 2nd, the Resurrection album is out, and really preceded by the Live in Tokyo.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
How much of a kick do you get singing the old UFO songs and Scorpions stuff?
Oh, one of my favorite parts of the whole set.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who doesn't love UFO?
Rock Bottom especially,
oh
right?
Oh my God. Shoot, I do sing Shoot, one of my all-time favorites because I get such a kick out of that. But, you know, Strangers in the Night is hailed as one of the best, if not the top, best live recorded album. It's just phenomenal.
From my hometown, Chicago.
My God, everyone a winner. It's just awesome. You know, so when we get to there, that's like we're going, yeah, UFO. So you I know it sounds a little pretentious, but you think that the audience are open at it and ready for it. We're ready for it because it's such a fun part of the whole set and killer songs. Dude. Yeah. How many years ago since Strangers?
I want to say, was it 81? No, something like that.
So if that's not
at least 30. Yeah.
If that's not a testament to and a cult band really never really broke through that curtain as big as they should have, but still here. Yeah. Right? They just did a tour with Saxon, right? Yeah. A few months ago. So awesome band.
Yeah, they frequently come back here too.
Yeah.
Well, Robin, thank you so much. We're gonna let him get ready to go for the show.
Thank you guys.
So very much.
Thanks for having me. Let's do this.
Go check out the Michael Schenker Fest. They only have a couple more left, but if they're coming to your town, go see him. Go check out the DVD and the new album Resurrection. Right there at Michael Schenker Fest. Posters right up there, and on March 2nd. So for Robin, this is Jay Nanda of Alamo True Metal reminding you, don't hang them out to dry, hold them up high.